everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial, and today we are painting the new, awesome, incredible Grimnyr for the Leagues of Votann. Yes, we are painting him up today. Sent to me early by Games Workshop to review and paint up for all of you, so massive thank you to them for doing that. And well, we're just going to jump in and start painting him. He's been primed in Grey Seer, and the first colour we're going to be using is Gore-Grunta Fur. Now we're going to be painting the Grimnyr up, and then we'll do the Korgs afterwards, or Corvs, however it is you're meant to say it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to load up our brush with Gore-Grunta Fur, and we're going to start applying this over the top of his robe. So I'm just going to start around here, and we're just going to start painting this on just like this. Now we just want to get his kind of monk's robes, as it were. So with that Gore-Grunta Fur all applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Baal Red, and we're going to apply this to the cloak. But we're also going to apply this to these kind of little tiny little bits of shoulder cloakage, just up here. There's a little bit of it just there as well, like that. Then we've got the other one on the other side. And then we've got the main body of the cloak itself. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this to a couple of different areas. So first place we're going to add this is on top of the boots. We're going to be adding this to the trim here, here, and here. We're going to be adding this over the top of the belt. We're going to be adding this over the trim around the hood and on these wings on the shoulder pads as well. So we're just going to grab that Black Legion on our brush. I'm just going to pick a place to start now. I'm just going to start here on this trim bit here. Just like that. So with that Black Legion applied over all of those details, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to apply this over the remaining trim, and we're going to use this to shade the red as well. So we're just going to get this all over this trim like this. Similarly back here. So with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown, and we're going to use this over the top of our kind of remaining leather details. So this is going to include his gloves, it's going to include the little pouch on his hip as well. What we want to do here is we want to avoid the gloves at least. The little armour panels. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Terradon Turquoise. I'm going to apply this in a couple of different areas. So we've got a tiny little bit of undershirt that you can see just here. I'm going to apply that just there. Like that. We've got a little bit more of undershirt. Just in there. We've got the trousers, which is just right under there that you can see. Like so. We've got the kind of outside parts of the staff, so it's kind of divided into 3 sections. Now it doesn't really matter if you get this all over the staff because the kind of bit that runs right down the middle is gold. Like so. Do the same thing on that end as well. What we're also going to do, we're going to paint in the backpack So with that done, just whilst we're waiting for that to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Basilicanum Grey and we're going to apply this over the top of our Grimnyr's beard. So with that done, we're then going to take some Briar Queen Chill and we're going to apply this over the top of our armor panels. One just here. Oh, we've got a couple on the gloves. Like that. There's one just under here as well. And we've also got this one that runs around the neck. And on the other gloves. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Seraphim Sepia and we're going to apply this over the top of the inside of the cloak, because you want a really nice soft cream. Now that the Terradon Turquoise is dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some black Templar and we're going to run this along those what will be turquoisey black sections of the staff. So this is those outside sections. Just like that. And just whilst we're waiting for that to dry, we're going to grab some Flesh Terror's Red. We're going to apply this over the top of the grip on the little sword. Or is it the plasma knife? I think it's a plasma knife. You'll get one. Symbol of office. So with that done, we're then going to take some Fyreslayer Flesh and we're going to apply this over our Grimnyr's face. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour and we're going to pretty much paint this over all of the remaining areas that don't have any paint on them. So we've got this kind of masthead area like this. We've got the top of the staff. We've got the runes along here. We've got that kind of vein of gold running down the middle of the staff as well. So with that done, we've just got one last base coat to apply, and that is going to be some thinned down Iron Warriors. Now we're going to be applying this just over the top of the belt buckle. Like that. And we're also going to be applying this over the mechanical stuff around here on the backpack. So with that done, all of our base coats are now on our Grimnyr. So what we're going to do is we're going to shade him. Now the colour we're going to be using for this first is Fyreslayer Flesh. I'm going to be using this over the top of all of the gold. So with that Fyreslayer Flesh all applied, we're then going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to apply this over the top of a couple of places. So firstly, we're going to use this to shade the beard. Like that. We're going to use this to shade all of the black trim, just to really punch up that colour. Like that. And we're also going to use this to shade any of the silver details. So with that done, our Grimnyr is now what I would call a war hipster battle ready. He's looking pretty fantastic. However, we are not going to leave him there. No, we're going to take him to the next level, and we're going to do this by adding some layers and some highlights. Now the first one we're going to add is some Skrag Brown. And we're going to be using this to effectively do quite a large highlight, almost bordering on a full relayer of his cloak. Well, his robes, I should say. Just avoiding anywhere where we've got some shade settling. So with that Skrag Brown applied, we're then going to take some Deathclaw Brown. I'm going to use this to highlight our robes. Just picking out the edges and all of those folds. So with that done, the robes are all finished. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Ushabti Bone, and we're going to use this to essentially pick out all of the trim. Including all of the runes. Just leaving that Agrax Earthshade nestling in the recesses. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Dawnstone. I'm going to do a highlight on all of our black trim. Now this is going to be quite tricky in places, as we're not kind of wanting to relayer like we've done with the Ushabti Bone. We're looking to do a highlight here. So with that Dawnstone all applied to the trim, what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Administratum Grey, and we're going to apply this to the corners and the sharpest parts of the black trim. Like that sort of thing. But what we're also going to do is we're going to use this Administratum Grey to pick out all of the strands of his beard. So with that now done, I've given the same treatment to the feet, as I completely forgot to mention that. So what we're going to do is move on now, and we're going to use some thinned down Lothern Blue, and we're going to use this to highlight the staff. So with that done, I'm just going to hit pause on painting the staff just for a moment, because what we're going to do is we're going to take some Cyberite Green. I'm going to use this to highlight our Terradon Turquoise armour or backpack. Just back here. So with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Gauss Blaster Green, and we're going to add this to the sharpest points on the armor or backpack. What we're also going to do is going to add this to the corners on the staff, the areas that we highlighted with Lothern Blue. So with that done, the armour and the staff, well, staff handle, are now finished. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Deepkin Flesh, and we're going to use this to relayer our armour panels. So with that now done, the white armour is finished, as you can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the inside of that cape. Now, it's very simple. What we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Pallid Witch Flesh to 1 part Rakarth Flesh mix. And we're going to paint this over the top of the flats of the inside of the cape. Just like that, just avoiding anywhere where our Seraphim Sepia has really settled. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sunz Scarlet. And we're basically going to do a very similar thing. We're just going to start relayering this over the top of the outside of the cloak, just avoiding anywhere where our Agrax Earthshade has really settled. We'll be able to be a little bit more targeted with it. So with that Evil Sunz Scarlet relayered, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Wild Rider Red. I'm going to use this over the top of the sharpest points in the folds of the red cloak. And finally, just to finish off that cloak, we're going to take a teeny tiny amount of Fire Dragon Bright. We're going to add this to the sharp corners. So with the cloak all finished, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Knight-Questor Flesh. We're going to use this to highlight our Cygor Brown leather details. So with that done, we're then going to take some Flayed One Flesh. And I'm going to apply this as a little highlight to all the skin. Which is mostly just his nose. Upon painting the face, what I've discovered is that the right eye, or left eye, his left eye, is actually silver. So we're just going to go in and correct that using some Iron Warriors. However, we don't need to shade it because all we need to do is just paint in his eyebrow and his cheek and his eyeball. You can see it in there. So with that Iron Warriors applied, it is now time to work on those silver details, and the colour we're going to be using is Ironbreaker. Just like this. And so with that done, just to finish off all the silver, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Talassar Blue and right in under here over his left eyeball. We're going to apply this just like that. And whilst we're in the habit of finishing off silver details, we've got the buttons on the arm that we did some Talassar Blue over the small ones. And what we are going to do is we're going to take some Flesh Terrors Red. I'm going to apply this over the top of the little screen. Like that. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to effectively relayer and highlight all of our gold details. So on areas such as the kind of the head up here, we want to paint this Liberator Gold over the top of all of the wide open spaces. Like this. Whereas on the smaller bits, such as the runes, well, I guess it's technically a relayer here as well. Whereas on the kind of feathers of the bit on the back, I'm just going to run this along the edges. So with that Liberator Gold applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Stormhost Silver and we're going to apply this to the absolute sharpest points in all of the gold. So this is going to be areas like the top of the design up here, the corners, like that, as well as little eyes over the top of this rune, and here as well, and over the top of this gem. So with that Stormhost Silver applied, we're then going to take some Blood Angels Red. I'm going to apply this over the top, it's a little too much, of the gem. And then finally, just to finish him off, we're going to take some Talassar Blue. And we're going to apply this over the top of the eyes on the staff. Like that. We're going to apply it over the top of the runes on the staff. Like that. And we're also going to apply it over the top of this little area. And with our final flourish on there, we're going to take some Lothern Blue. I'm just going to use this to highlight all of those blue areas. Like that. And like this. So with that done, our Grimnyr is finished. We do still have the two corves to do, but before we do that, what we're going to do is we're just going to pop the shade on his base. So that shade is going to be Targor Rageshade. And we're just going to apply this all over all of the rocks. And then whilst it's drying, we're going to start work on the corves. So with that done, the Grimnyr can go to one side. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to blast through both of our corves. So none of these colours should be of any surprise to you, as we've already used all of them on the Lord Grimnyr. And the first one we're going to use is Terradon Turquoise. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the corv armour. So with that done, we then take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the casing on the weapon. So with that done, we're then going to take Blood Angel's Red. I'm going to use this on all the cables. So with that done, we're then going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. I'm going to paint this over all the gold details. We've got all the runes scattered around. Like this. Got the stuff here on the chest. Got the stuff on the gun. On the back, and we've got this head thing as well. So with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors and we're going to apply this over all of our remaining details. So with that done, the shading and the highlights are exactly the same for all of these colours. We're going to be using Fyreslayer Flesh for the gold, we're going to be using Nuln Oil on the black and silver for the shades, and then we're going to be highlighting everything up in the same way that we did on the Grimnyr. So we're just going to do this. We're just going to go ahead and do this. So this video isn't 4 hours long. And then when we come back, we'll finish off the base. So with all of those shades and highlights applied in the same way that we did on the Grimnyr, the corves are now finished. As you can see, they've got the astrogranite debris on there. So we're just going to do our very final thing on the Grimnyr himself, and that is to take some Agrax Earthshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of any of the little soil bits. Like that. And then on some of the rocks, what we're going to do is we're going to add some Agrax Earthshade like this. We're going to wash the brush, and then with a clean brush, we're just going to smooth out the transition. And we're also going to use this Agrax Earthshade just to fill in any of the pock marks, like so. There aren't that many. Like that. And then once that's done, we're then going to put astrogranite debris all over that base. Then we're going to dry brush it with Tyrant Skull. And and then it's done.
So after some Astro Granite debris, a shading of Drakenhof Nightshade, a dry brush of Tyrant Skull, some Valhallan Blizzard and some Winter Tufts from Gamer's Grass, our bases are finished, and so our Lord Grimnyr and his trusty corves are also finished. This is just an absolutely fantastic, phenomenal miniature from the Leagues of Votann, and as soon as I saw it the first time, I was like, I have to have that. I don't care what I have to do, I must have that miniature in my life. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these amazing, wonderful people have done. And if you really like this video or you just want to shoot me some support, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.